Okay, good. Well, good morning. I appreciate this opportunity to visit with everybody because, of course, last night the City Council, the governing body as a whole, myself included, made an important decision. It's one that a lot of the community has been waiting for. It's one that our interim city manager, Bill Cochran, has also been waiting for. He's worked very hard to help us get to this point. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge that during this time, between the changes between our previous city manager and now our brand new city manager, we needed to have somebody in place that kept the ball rolling, that kept things together, and kept all the initiatives that we have talked about from falling into a crack and kind of being put on hold, because nothing has been put on hold during this time. And it's to the credit of our interim city manager, Bill Cochran, so I want to publicly thank him for that. I think the governing body owes you that thanks as well. But now we move to the next chapter. And that next chapter will be a partnership with our brand new city manager, Mr. Stephen Wade. I am glad that he is joining us in that capacity. I believe the governing body has been very deliberate and intentional in how we made this process very visible, open to the public, even invited the public to participate in some of the interview panel process. Getting their feedback was very important. To be honest with you, I wasn't surprised by a lot of the feedback because I think they saw in then candidate Stephen Wade the potential for him to serve in the capacity of a city manager in a very effective way that will help us keep moving forward with the city of Topeka. Steve, I have known personally for some time, and it's been kind of a joy for me sitting in the mayor's position to visit and work with friends that I have made over years. And that friendship didn't influence a decision by me. That influence and friendship enhanced what I thought about the candidate. And so along with the others, it was a decision that we're very proud of, that we're very ready to work with Mr. Wade. I have to get used to calling him City Manager Wade. And it's a habit to break. I was doing some of that last night during the council meeting, calling our city attorney the clerk, because that's usually sits in that seat. And right now, this is an opportunity for us to hear from Steve about some of the things that he hopes for the city in his new position, his intentions on how he will help us continue to revitalize, keep moving to the next level as we have all along, and improve the city for everyone in this community. So Steve, congratulations. Welcome as our new city manager. And I'll leave this time for an opportunity for you to speak to us.
Thank you, sir, but you're much more better at this than I am.
No.
So, thank you, and thank you to the governing body for the opportunity. It's a thrill, and it's an honor, and I promise, as I did last night, to work hard and do you proud. To me, anytime you have an internal promotion, it's a team win. It's not about an individual. You get there because of a full team, and so I'm really proud that with this internal promotion, that it's a reflection on the work of our employee base. We have over 1,000 people that are plugging hard to serve our citizens, and to me, this is a reflection of that effort. So I greatly appreciate it. One of the things that I guess having had the opportunity to be in the finance position and in the budget position is you get a chance to touch all parts of the city. And so you start to understand a little bit of what's going on. You build relationships, both inside the building as well as outside. And to me, that is so critical in this job, is the relationships. And so I'm very thankful to have had a little bit of a head start, and I know there's a ton of work to do. There's a lot of folks in this room that I owe a great deal of a debt of gratitude to. They've helped grow me. They have helped present ideas. They've been great sounding boards. And so I'm looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and working with this team. We did some sounding boards back in February and March with the community as part of our budget process. And consistently, what we heard from the community was the need for more affordable housing. We heard the need for economic development. We heard the need for attention to mental health, and especially attention to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so, Mr. Mayor, when you ask about priorities, those are critical. I think those are things that I hear from the governing body and things that I hear from the community. And so it's my intention that those are early areas of focus. We'll develop some key plans with the staff, with my teammates, and we'll start rolling.
Thank you, Steve. This morning, we won't probably go into a whole lot of detail like we ordinarily would on a press conference and speak about particular projects. I do want to note that yesterday I was able, along with Mr. Cochran, to attend the Topeka Public School Foundation presentation and awards to Jim and Ethel Edwards for all their work and volunteer work with the foundation. And listening to Dr. Anderson during that presentation, it really gave me a good feeling about where the city of Topeka is going, and really a closer relationship with the school district in achieving the same common goals. They talked about the increase in graduation rates at all of our schools. I mean, that's fundamental to a community to grow and thrive. So I think it's excellent that we are able to have that relationship continue to grow. They also highlighted, as you mentioned, at one point that they had at least about 600 identified students who self-identified themselves as homeless enrolled in our school system, and that's unacceptable. But they were able to report that now it's less, I think, than 300, which is fantastic, but still 300 more than we need to have. So there's a lot to be done. There are plenty of people who are working on these problems and projects, and I think the more that we collaborate with all those other entities, I think we'll come to that point where we will see in real time, in real life, impacts what the city is doing. I want to note that tonight, Chief Wheelis, I think, is your first public event for input from the public. That's something that was discussed during the Police Community Relations Commission committee meetings, and one of the recommendations were to get not just public input, but public participation, because participation means work. That means you don't just talk about it, you actively get up off the couch and go do something about it. And that's what I think this participation effort is meant to be. And for the chance for the public, in my lifetime with the city of Topeka and the police department, to have direct input into what the training agenda could be for the police department is a big, big step in the right direction. And I applaud you, Chief, for accepting that recommendation and taking action on it and not waiting for someone to ask you to take action on it. It speaks well of your leadership. So I also think that the fire department is stepping forward and doing different things that I think that maybe have been out of their comfort zone in the past. And I applaud both chiefs for collaborating together, because I think that's important. Those are essential services, and those essential services must be in coordination and talking to each other on a regular basis. So I have a unified effort. I think is important for the city to recognize that the public servants of the city of Topeka are doing their best job. And with the new city manager at the helm, I am sure there'll be plenty of opportunities and conversations for us to talk about the strategic plans that we know have to be in place so that we can go in the right direction and not get sidelined by different distractions. Because that's our end goal, is to make this community grow in population, in economic wealth, educational opportunities, mental health opportunities, and to include everyone at every aspect of our planning at the table so that it's an equitable distribution of success and enjoyment. So we'll stand for any questions, or sit for any questions, as it were, from anybody in the audience.
Mayor, a lot of people would say it's best to bring somebody new in, fresh new ideas, not somebody who's been here forever, be the same old, same old. What do you say to those people?
Well, I would say that that's one perspective. There's something to be said for experience as well. And that experience varies across the board. So when you get a group of candidates, and I think we had, what was it, Bill, remind me, a little over 40 candidates, you look at that and you can see even in those applicants, the experience level is at different degrees. And each of those candidates brings a different perspective. But we have to remember that when we're talking about somebody who is going to be intimately involved with the operations of the city of Topeka, it's important they know as much as they can about the city of Topeka and have been involved in it, not just lived here, but have been active participants in what we do in this community. And so I appreciate their opinion that fresh eyes sometimes are thought of as coming from outside. I remember that from the police department when the expert always showed up to give us the training, and the expert was the guy with the briefcase who came from out of town. But a lot of the learning that took place, the significant learning, were from people who had served this community for years and knew what this community was about and were able to see what the community needs from a very personal view. And I think that's what an internal candidate brings to us. We've talked about growing our own, and I think that's still important. I mentioned both the police and fire departments. I think it's important that we grow our successors so that we know that when we have the opportunity to bring in new talent in new roles, that we have talent and the expertise here in the city of Topeka that really can hit the ground running and not have to spend a lot of time researching about Topeka, finding out about Topeka, and trying to meet those people in Topeka that have been here for years. This person and any person in a position of responsibility to the community has to really have that in-depth understanding of who we are. So I would say to them, keep your opinions. You're entitled to them, but there's an opposite opinion, and I think that opinion will bear us out in what we have done in selecting Mr. Wade for our city manager.
City Manager, you've been in Topeka for a number of years. What, in your opinion, does the city of Topeka do well, and what are some areas of improvement you're looking to take under your management?
You know, I think the thing that I appreciate most about Topeka is the people. We are a community that works hard. We have a tremendous work ethic. The ingenuity that's available from the folks that have lived here is incredible. If you think about the history and the significant milestones that have been achieved, that's what Topeka's about. And so to me, that's what makes it go. And sometimes we need to roll up our sleeves a little harder and work a little tougher. But no, that's why I chose to be here.
Further questions?
Yeah. So I know we're not getting into the specifics on projects, but what are some that you're looking forward to taking under your management in the next couple of months or year?
You know, I think if you go back to the priorities we were talking about earlier, those are key, and really I think you have to be careful, as the mayor said, to not get distracted and chase the shiny penny. Those are critical areas for the city, and they've been identified by the governing body. They've been identified by the citizens. They've been identified by my teammates. And so that's what we need to chase.
If I could speak a little bit to that, if I may. Earlier, I made the comments about how we've continued to move forward during this time of transition. We've been very busy as a body, and as we have received a lot more attention from developers for the city of Topeka, more so than I can remember in recent years. And that opportunity for us is growing and continues to grow. And that's going to fill your plate, believe me, very quickly. Because to wait and see what will happen means that we'll be the last city in line to see something happen. And we're not doing that. And we haven't been doing that during this transition period. And some of the projects that have been reported off and on during the news about South Topeka Boulevard and that Bring Back the Boulevard and other efforts, we see demolitions going on around the city, on the east side of town as well. There are other conversations about the interstate. You know, there are a lot of things that are moving already, and those things will continue to need to be moved. They'll need to have focused effort and energy, and I think that is one of the things that the city manager will sit down and visit and talk with the interim or former interim city manager to see where those things are in their stages, so that they can not lose any ground at all on what we're trying to accomplish. So he's going to have a busy, busy time. Further questions? None? Well, I thank you all for being here. And again, take the time to get to know our new city manager if you don't already know him. I encourage the public to give him their support for all his efforts. He is going to be pulled in a lot of directions, and he'll try to meet all the requests that he can. But give them the opportunity to build the team that we're putting together that will continue to move this city. And I think we have a very bright future right now. And I appreciate your attendance this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.